Hello, everyone. How we doing? It is Tuesday evening, and I think you all know what that means. It's time for the Roundtable, baby, and here we are, back again, the first Tuesday in November. So, welcome to the last 2 months of the year. For one, we hope you're all having a great week. Of course, I'm Nick Rosario, and I try to steer the ship as best I can. But of course, I am never alone. I have all my peoples with me, like we are family. I got two sisters and my brother with me. Never, anyways.
Why I gotta be a brother?
So what? Okay, I guess that's true. Never mind. The show's already going off the rails, and we just started, folks. Let me tell you. But let us get moving again. I have three people, three lovely people that are here with me this evening, and then we just heard from one gentleman, so we'll start with him. Andy, how you doing this week, my friend? How's it going?
You did it on purpose, so I couldn't drink my soda. How are you, sir?
That's right. That's right. Stop drinking. Stop drinking. It's time to talk. Stop drinking.
It is very good to see the both of you. I love how I like to play the Brady Bunch card, like I'm looking at the both of y'all. How are you?
Right.
It is very good to see you, all three of you, in the same place. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, things happen. I'm tired. They're wearing us out at work, but this is my favorite part of every Tuesday, and it makes me sad that we are almost halfway to the end of the season. So I am very happy to be here, and the garbage has already been empty because today is trash day.
All right. Oh, fantastic! We love trash day.
Hey, Delilah.
He's here. Speaking of Delilah Crespo. Delilah, how are you doing today? Up there in the top corner. How are we doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, everybody. How's it going? It looks like it's because of daylight savings. It's felt like, or the end of it, it's felt like 8 o'clock since 5 p.m. Central Time. So I'm still dealing with that shift. I can't wait to figure out how to get rid of it because they keep trying to pass laws, but then when they pass, they don't go through. And then when they do, they still don't know how to implement it. You know, that means they got to adjust a lot of stuff, like transportation, all this stuff. And so they can't figure it out. And so it just throws, I'm still adjusting. So I'm like, I went to the gym. I walked out and was like, oh, is it 8 o'clock? And I was like, no, it can't be because I'd be on my football show.
Right. I'd be doing the podcast right now. Yeah.
So I'm still adjusting to the change in the time and it's feeling like 8 at 5 p.m.
Yeah, that is true. That is extremely true. Especially I left work at 5 today and went, damn, it's dark already? Come on, man. But yeah, so Tina Winter, how are you, Tina? How's it going on this fantabulous Tuesday?
Everything is going well now. I mean, earlier, as we discussed, I might not have been able to get on here. Found out my cable got cut. That's fun when you work from home, right?
Right. Well, that's right. That kind of like, was it just an outage or somebody made a mistake? They cut your line? Like, what happened there?
Somebody yesterday had a problem. Yeah, somebody else yesterday had a problem. And they didn't realize that their line was connected to mine because I'm in a condo building. So it's all
right. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
So they did something with one that created a problem over here. And then while he was here, he also found out that my cable box coming in from the outside was a little wonky. So we're all good now. Now I got amazing internet speed.
Right. Like, look at me. I'm great now. Woohoo. Well, I'm glad you guys are all here. For everyone who watched, we did a kind of a special show last week, so we're going to get back to what we regularly do here on Tuesdays. I can talk. And as always, what do we start with? A coin toss. All right, let's get it started, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else who might be out there watching. Great big firing this week that I know Tina Winter is extremely happy about. Josh McDaniel was let go from the Las Vegas Raiders. And if you would have seen the smile on Tina's face when that happened, you guys would have been amazed. But because of that, we decided, hey, let's talk a little bit about that because there's probably a good 5 or 6 coaches who are probably on the hot seat as well. We're going into week 10. Most teams have played 8 or 9 games now. Buys are going on currently, so things are starting to shape up. You're starting to kind of get an idea of who the contenders, pretenders might be, and so some of these coaches are kind of feeling the heat a little bit. So let's get into it. Delilah, I'm going to start with you because you've talked about this here in Chicago. Hello, how are you doing? All right, everybody. Sorry, everybody there? Okay, everybody back? Are we back? Are we there? Yeah. All I saw was 4 spinning circles for a second. I went, oh my God, what happened? What do we do? What happened? Oh, whatever. But yeah, Delilah, we're going to start with you because, again, you have been protesting this and shouting this from as high as you can. Matt Eberflus, our wonderful coach here in Chicago, who, as we know, does not have a winning record. But what do you think, though? I mean, we're getting it to the point now. We're 2-7 going into this game on Thursday night with Carolina. I mean, do you feel like Eberflus is on the hot seat? What do you think about Matt? Do you think what's going on there?
We don't fire coaches in the middle of the season. So even if he was in a hot seat, we're going to let it play out. It's just, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible because these are probable, right? So I'm not saying it's not probable, but we are not known for firing coaches, regardless how awful they are, because I said, we went through Fox, we went through Nagy, and so it's and we never fired them, and and then we had Trustman, who also had like a 2 wins or 3 wins or whatever, and we gave him a shot, and we still didn't fire him. So is he on the hot seat for contract next season? 100%. Like that, I don't see a reason to bring him back when they gave him 2 seasons, and we've done it again. Like we had John Fox for 2 seasons. He had a losing record. We fired him. I think the only one we had longer was Nagy because he actually was winning games here and there. You know what I mean? So we did give him more shots. He did take us to a wild card. So I understood that part. But previously, the longest before that, the coach that we've had around the longest was the one that took us to the Super Bowl recently, Mr. Lovie Smith. That's the only coach in recent 2000s that we've given longer contracts and more chances to. But everyone else, they at least give them like 2 seasons and they're like, you're out of here. So I'm thinking that that's going to happen. We're not going to see Eberflus. I don't think we'll even see Getsky because he didn't do what we thought he was going to do here for us. We thought, we're going to steal from Green Bay. And they're like, I see. Okay, that's probably why they weren't, tripping on him leaving, So we've been firing coordinators and other coaches for other stuff, which that's the other thing that's weird. Like they're not telling us, why they're firing these guys. They're just saying, something happened.
Inappropriate behavior. Like they're like, it's behavioral issue. Well, what does that mean? Right. Behavioral issue. What did he do? Right.
So no, I don't. I think he is on a hot seat, 100%. But it won't be a mid-year firing. Well, we're gonna let him play out, and then I think Poles is gonna be like, "All right, sir, we're done with your services." Yeah. So end of season firing for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We never fire anybody mid-season for whatever reason. So they just they always wait till the end and go, "Okay, you're done." But Tina, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna go to you. You're on a comment bye week. Well, thank you, Scott, but you commented anyway. So are you really on a bye? Nice try, pal.
He was on the wrong feed because we have, this opens on Let's Talk Football, but then I also open on Sean's, but I don't see those comments. So everyone watching, we love your comments, but just so you know, when it comes live on Sean's private Facebook, we don't see those on here. We only see the YouTube ones and then the ones that pop up on the Let's Talk Football Facebook group. Just an FYI. So I feel really bad because sometimes I'll go over there and see his and I'll see like a million comments I didn't see. And so I don't want anyone ever thinking we're not showcasing your comments because we're being like rude or mean. We don't see them. So, so if you want us to show your comments, comment on the live feed that comes on YouTube or on the one that
Facebook.
On the Facebook group, then we see those.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I just want to throw that out there because I realized that.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
No, thank you for letting them know that, right? Because I even wasn't quite sure, right, about that whole thing. So yeah, thank you for that, Delilah. So Tina, a guy who's been around for a very long time, whose teams have suffered since a certain quarterback has left his company there, Bill Belichick. Is this the end of the road for him in New England? Is this time for him to ride off into the sunset, as it were? What do you think?
God, I hope Darth Vader quits soon.
Oh God, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All joking aside.
Yeah,
all
that's
joking
all right.
aside. Actually, I think Belichick has earned the right to decide when he wants to leave based on what he has done with Tom Brady at the Patriots. He has turned the Patriots. It's not just a team. It's a culture. It's a whole idea of what's there. So I do think he's deserved the right to stay as long as he wants to. But if he was smart, he'd look at what's going on right now and be like, I want off the ship. Okay. Like, and based on some things that have kind of happened, might bring an old OC back and give him that job because though I don't think he should ever be a head coach again. But I mean, that's the thing. He did his Josh McDaniels is who I'm referring to, as I lovingly like to call him, Coach McDumdum. He kind of has earned a right through there. He was the OC there. That's where I think he should have stayed from the beginning. Sorry, didn't mean to turn it into that, but I agree. And I think also the Patriots owner, who I can't remember his name now.
Kraft.
Oh, Jesus, Kraft. I just saw the comment. That's why I went, oh, Jesus. I'm so sorry.
Right. Kraft. It's all good.
Kraft. I think Kraft will let Belichick stay. He might be like, I really think you should try and figure out who your successor is going to be. But I think he'll be allowed to stay as long as he wants to.
That's that's the crazy thing. No, because I tend to agree with you. Like, sometimes you get to that certain level that you just go, well, the guy can do whatever the hell he wants. He brought you 7 titles. Like, is this a guy you really just want to be like, well, it's time for the glue factory there, pal. We're going to put you out the pasture. I mean, you kind of sit there. I mean, again, I do kind of, the whole Mac Jones thing. It's like, that was, sorry. Whoa. I apologize. What was that? Hello. I thought it was a blip on the screen or something. I thought my phone was cracked. I'm like, what is that? Sorry, folks. Getting rid of a cold is never a fun thing, right? My bad. I don't know what that was. Like, Hetty can't stop laughing now. Forget it. It's gone. There it is. Look at Hetty's just gonna. I'm telling you. Oh man, that just shows you how much I'm not even paying attention.
Free Willy.
I'm just out of here talking, and got a big snot coming out of my nose. That's fantastic. I don't play well. Sean will cut that into a clip for next week. That'll be great. Nick's long dinner. Take a look. There you go. All right, it's over.
I didn't even notice. I was oblivious.
No, I know.
I was just like, I was like, didn't we talk about Belichick, and we kind of all agreed that he'll leave on his own terms.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I would think so, but
if Kraft
what can you do?
Fire him last year after how bad Mac Jones was. Kraft is not going to fire him until he wants to leave.
And honestly, apparently his contract is huge too, and he has all these other
it is. Yeah,
it came out that they signed him for a multi-year lucrative thing, and it wasn't just coaching. It's like he has general manager. He's got a lot going on over there. So
he's the general manager. He's the head coach. He's making all the decisions. So they've got to find somebody that. And so many of the guys that were under his coaching tree are gone. They went to other
Right.
teams or they're trying other things. And some of them done well, some haven't. So who do you bring back? Who is there that can take over? So
I mean, I think you're right. Maybe they will call
I think they're just kicking the can down the curb until Belichick says, "Yeah, I'm done."
It'll be Josh McDaniels. They'll bring him back to be the head coach. That'll be fantastic. Tina will love it. No.
Fine.
I mean,
people in Boston, people in Boston and New York and New England love him.
He does know that system, though. You know, like we didn't. Will he be as good? No, absolutely not.
No,
but
probably not. Probably not at all.
I could see them bringing him back on maybe not a long-term contract. The Raiders already owe him money anyway. Like they're paying 2 coaches. Yo, Raiders.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah, Raiders, right? You still paying John Gruden. Now you're still paying Josh McDaniels.
The Raiders.
Hey, you know what? I think we should all become head coaches and see if we can get contracts like that. They're still paying us after. I mean, I can get paid to lose games. What the hell? Fire me. Keep paying me. I'll do some X's and O's for you. Let's get it on, right? Like, come on. I can call some football plays.
I'm going to put it like this. I'm going to take it a step deeper. I know we're a professional football program, but where the money's at is college football.
Yeah.
Jimbo, they gave Jimbo Fisher doggone near $100 million contract.
Yeah.
And he can't he's the number 1 recruiting class every year, and he can't win more than 8 games a year. So I'm just saying. I mean, look at Coach O, Joe Burrow's old college coach. They had to pay him $17 million on the way out the door while he was talking about go Tigers. So
Orgeron, Ed, get the money, Ed. Right. Ed got his money, that's for sure, on his way like this. But it's so Anthony, we're gonna come to you next. Coaches, this one is a guy you see twice a year because his team plays in your team's conference division. I mean, Todd Bowles with the Buccaneers could be on the hot seat. Tampa Bay not quite living up to the post-Tom Brady era again. Another team that loses Brady and somehow falls apart a little bit. What do you think about Todd Bowles losing his job possibly there, Mr. Handy?
That is entirely possible. And you hit the nail, but you also hit the nail right on the head. There's a big difference between there's a big difference between you had insert bad quarterback name here, playing under center for your team, and the coach was just garbage, and you actually being a good coach who knows how to utilize quite possibly one of the top, I would say 10, if not top 5 players in the history of the league, or at least in our lifetime. Okay. Those guys had to be good to know how to utilize this guy, and you lose that guy. It's like being the Justice League with just like Batman and Robin, and they don't have any superpowers. You dig what I'm saying? Now, Batman's a bad dude, but you got all these invincible people around you. You lose them, Batman is going to, might have to touch an L. So, and Scott also said Baker Mayfield, which is very true. But the point that I'm trying to make is, I mean, he probably will wind up suffering, getting that pig slip. If not this season, then if it's not this season, well, if they can, I'll put it like this: if they can say at or above 500, then he might get one more season. If the wheels completely fall off, he will get a pig slip at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, it's weird because you figure, Baker Mayfield has shown flashes this year, and you just wonder, like, what is it? A combination of things? Because like Tampa Bay, for all intents and purposes, has a pretty good defense. And you would think the offense, I mean, he can run an offense. It just doesn't seem like they're really, like, Mike Evans hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Things just don't seem to be falling into place for Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's one of the things.
It could be that they haven't had, like, it's the first time that they're kind of playing together. We kind of talked about it before, how sometimes they wait like 2 seasons at least, you know what I mean, to see if the quarterback and the players gel. Because you are coming, as we said, like, you're coming in after Tom Brady. That's just already people are like, clowning you already, right? Because that's just hard to already follow up on, right? And so I don't know if they'll both be gone. I think they might. Like, I think Anthony's right. Like, they don't have a complete losing season. Like, they can still win a few more games and still wind up over 500. You know what I mean? And there's teams down the road that they can probably win. They could get some W's out of the next, some games here. So, but I think if they do stay above 500, I think they both stay. Because again, it's the first season with these guys. Mike Evans, like, surprisingly, right, hasn't been really on the ball, and so I just think that they haven't really gelled. It's kind of how we said last year about Russell and, Denver. You know what I mean? Like, it was just the first time with that coach you know what I mean? And so, like, and now this season,
and the last time with that coach.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, but now we're seeing but we are seeing a change, though, as Tina's seeing. Like, there is a change in how the guys are playing together. There is a change in, like, people actually buying into that system. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know. I don't think he's right away out the door. I don't think so.
No, I got you. No, like I said, it'd be interesting to see, again, especially Tampa Bay in the division they're in. And Sean Spencer chimes in. Thank you, Sean. The Bucs will be in the hunt at least for that division. Yeah, I mean, right now it's, kind of the Saints look like they, could take it. And Bucs should still be in there. So we'll see. Again, I'm just going to throw out a couple of quick few names. You guys can respond as you wish. One of them being Mr. Spencer. And I'm sure he'll have a lot to say about this one. Ron Rivera, Washington Commanders. I think Ron's been on the hot seat for a few years, but what do you guys think? Is this it for Ron now? Is this finally the last hurrah, and after this year he's gone? What do you guys think?
I think so because of new ownership. I think so, yes. I think that's why. We have all seen Mr. Magic. We have seen his tweets. Well, I'm not on Twitter, but I've seen them, and he is not happy. And I have never seen him so, like, lively on social media before.
Right, yeah.
And so I think this time, yes, I think it's more than possible that they'll give him his pink slip because it's new ownership. They want a kind of new changing of the guard. They want fresh ideas, fresh coaching, and so I think now it's more than possible that, yes, we'll see the last of Ron at Washington.
I'm going to agree with that. I'm sorry, Tina, did you have something? I agree with that 100%. They came in. I think old Josh wanted to see if having new ownership, because everybody kept saying it's Snyder, it's Snyder, it's Snyder. Well, Snyder was a huge part as far as the culture surrounding the team and the boneheaded decisions and not allowing the GMs and coaches to make their own decisions. But he wanted to come in and say and see, okay, I'm taking away all of the things that you said were holding you back. We have taken that away from you. Superman, there is no more kryptonite. Let's see if you can go beat up the bad guy. That's 2 comic book references and 2 question answers. So and we see what the Commanders have put on the field. And so, yeah, they're definitely like, I mean, I think they came in with the mindset that they were going to get rid of him anyway, but they just wanted to make sure, you come in and you come in as a new owner and you clean house and install a new coach and the wheels fall off. This is a new breed of NFL fans. They might give you 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years back in the day. Now it is win now, or we're going to rail you.
True. Go ahead, Tina. You were going to say something? Yep.
Why get Bieniemy if you're not going to bring him in as soon as you can?
Yeah. I mean, I thought, that was an interesting thing too. Like bringing Bieniemy to that team.
Andy, that's what kind of like what Andy was saying was like the owners wanted to give him another try, but they bring in why would Bieniemy, who was interviewing for other positions as a head coach, why did he suddenly decide to do this? Now, I don't know the ins and outs. Sean knows his local media a little bit better, but my look on that is they went in and said, okay, we're going to give you a year. And if it's not right, going right to him and see what he can do. And this is similar to what happened in Denver also, which is the Walton Penner group came in. They didn't really change much because everybody needs to remember Hackett was not hired by the Walton Penner group. Hackett was hired by the trust and John Elway. So he was hired by the previous administration. Gave them a year, see what they can do. Didn't work, ripped it apart. And so I really don't see why you'd bring Bieniemy in if you're not gonna. Now maybe he's going to be there for a couple of years and he's trying to get some seasoning underneath Ron Rivera as a head coach, but who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if he stays. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone. Yes, I'm on that one.
No, that's fine. We saw our old buddy Ablo in the comments saying that Harris wasn't the one who technically Harris didn't hire Bieniemy.
Right.
But I got to imagine that they're happy that he's there. I have to, again, Bieniemy's a guy who's been up, or who you thought would be up for many head coaching jobs in the last few years, and he's had interviews, but the trigger was never pulled for whatever reason. And I just thought it was curious. I think Sean and I had talked about this a little bit about Bieniemy coming to Washington, kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting that now he ends up there in another position. Here we go. Sean chimes in. Everything from the new owners to the hiring of VB to the trading away Chase and Montez leads us to believe it changes on the way. Yeah, I would have to say that's true, Sean. Yeah, obviously, when you start trading away your two best defensive linemen, I think that's kind of you're going in another direction. Your season, you may not feel is going the way you want it, and you're going to make a change. I do want to throw out one more name before we get off the coaches here, because I kind of find it interesting that this guy still has a job. He blows a 27-point lead in a playoff game last year to the Jaguars. And a lot of people have criticized Brandon Staley throughout the last few years, just with the Chargers seem like they're underperforming or that Justin Herbert isn't developing the way he should under Staley. What do you guys think about Brandon Staley with the Chargers there? Is a change coming for him if the Chargers can't do anything this year? What do you guys think?
I personally think the ownership of the Chargers are cheap.
Okay.
Why move him to LA? Why? Everything the Chargers ownership does, it's like the Davis family 2.0. And yeah, it's in my division. So I love these stories. But why do you do they bring in LaDainian Thomas. They have Phillip Rivers. They can't quite get where they need to go. So then they're bringing somebody else in. And maybe Staley isn't the best guy, but they also seem to pull it out in the end for some reason. So it's one of those. It's kind of maybe like Ron. He looks bad, but for some reason he looks good in the end. And the ownership or the GM or the president says, we don't really want to look for anyone else. We like your salary. Where I'm trying to remember the family that bought that team. They own Pabst Blue Ribbon. They own a bunch of stuff. So you never know where that's coming from. But if I was a Chargers fan, I'd want him fired. I stopped myself from saying it.
I'm with you. Yeah, no, I agree. Especially when you just watch the other LA team win a Super Bowl, a few years ago. So you're just yo, how about us? It's you see that happen. And we know the way they won is because they threw all their chips in one basket. They say, we're going to just try it. We're going to throw everything at it. We're going to throw money at it, like Tina was saying. And we are just going to go all in. And it paid off. It paid off in the end. And so it did pay off. They did give them a Super Bowl win, and so I can see the point. And I'm surprised they haven't fired Staley yet, because as you like Justin a lot, right, Nick? And so
I do. I'm a big Herbert fan.
Yeah, and so
I like Herbert too.
He should be already, had at least made it further in the playoffs than they have. You know what I mean? And so how is that possible if you have such a talented quarterback, right? And you do have some good receivers still that make good plays, and the defense isn't awful,
old.
And so
they're old.
They're
old.
But they should have been deeper in the playoffs, you know what I mean? At least with the talent that they did have, and they never could. They just kind of would make it close and just not go all the way. So I'm with Tina. I said, if I'm the Chargers fans, I'd be like, just fire the coach and get us some new blood and get us some, some young, hungry guys,
Yeah. No, it's
got the guys.
Yeah.
It's just that some of the people they've been able to get as far as wide receivers and even on their tight ends aren't as good as the old fogies that are on the team. I mean, Keenan Allen is still a wide receiver.
That's what I'm saying.
For the Chargers.
Yeah, I think Gerald Everett has underperformed as a tight end. Like, I think they expected more, from Everett, and he hasn't been spectacular, like as far as that goes. I mean, Eckler's having a pretty good season as far as running backs go. So, I mean, he scored a touchdown last night in that game, which, again, Tina was very ecstatic about because the Jets got killed. But we'll talk about that a little time. But, yeah, it's I just, again, Staley just, it's hard to come back, like, as Handy will tell you, when you blow a 20-something point lead in a game, it's not exactly a I was amazed though today that he's gone. We lost Andy. He pulled an Nathan Snell and turned his camera off. He's out. That's it. It's done. Andy's done with me. It's over.
Exactly, Sean. That's what I'm saying.
100%. Absolutely. Expected, and again. It's hard. I mean, that was a young, the Jaguars are a year older, obviously, and they have a good team. But last year, you would have thought there's no way they're coming back from a 27-point deficit to win that game. And that was just one of those things you go, is that the team just collapsing? Is that coaching? Like, what is it?
I don't know. But I'm glad they did because I like the Jaguars and I like Trevor Lawrence.
No, I do too. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I love Travis Etienne. I mean, I like Christian Kirk. They have a good offense, and their defense is improving. Like, I think the Jaguars, they've won 5 in a row. They have the longest winning streak this season in the NFL. They won 5 games in a row. So you can't argue with what the Jaguars are doing right now. But, yeah, again, these are coaches that are all in the hot seat. Of course, we'll all be watching the rest of the season unfold to see if these guys still have jobs at the end of the year, how their teams finish, all that sort of stuff. Keenan Allen is still the top. Yeah, I mean that is true.
100%.
That's true. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, no, we know, but
once you come to Keenan Allen, they got nobody else. They hardly have anybody else. That's the problem.
And that's the thing you got to have right. Yep. Which is an issue. Yeah, a few teams have that issue, right? Exactly, where you can just key on the tough guy, and then you dare the other guys to beat you because they don't produce as much as the top guy. But let us move on. We're going to get to the recaps. Of course, we always do our team recaps. Although, Tina, your team was on a bye this week, so I don't know. Like, is there anything you want to say about your team? Do you have any news updates or anything on your old Denver Broncos before we get into this?
No, not really. It's been kind of quiet.
Okay.
Just the normal
it's been a little quiet
stuff. Yeah. I'm just looking to see who might be coming off the injury list, but that's about it. So I do think it's going to be an interesting game this week, next Monday, against the Bills.
Yeah, they got the Monday night game. Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, real quick, not to digress too much, but I did think this was funny because somebody put up a thing about all the primetime games this week just seem like really horrible matchups because you got Carolina and the Bears on Thursday night, Buffalo and Buffalo's been struggling so horribly that you got Buffalo and Denver on a Monday night, and it just escapes me right now who the Sunday night game is, but it was 2 teams where you just went, do I really want to watch that? You got just
Denver and Minnesota.
Minnesota and who? Sorry.
Game. Denver and Minnesota is the Sunday night game.
I thought you said Denver was on Monday night.
I think they're on Monday and then they're on Sunday.
What? What I missed? Wait, what am I missing there, team? Did I misunderstand?
I think we play both Monday and then the next Sunday night game.
Oh, I was talking about the Sunday night game this week. The games that are on this week. No, it's okay. That's why I was, because I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Is like that didn't sound right. But okay, yeah.
My apologies.
No, that's okay. That's okay. No, but yeah, they seem like 3 lackluster games. Anthony Taylor, he was top 5 in passing this past week. Don't worry, Sean. We're gonna get the Handy in his Falcons there. We're gonna get to it. Palmer is legit. All right. So, well, like we said, unfortunately, I can't talk anymore. Tina's Broncos did have the bye week, so not a lot to report as far as Denver goes. But again, should be an interesting matchup. Like she said, I'm sure she'll have plenty to talk about next week when we talk about Bills Denver and that recap. But Handy, let's go to you next, buddy. Kind of a tough loss for your Falcons this week. I mean, and again, I'm not trying to throw salt in your wound because I had taken Atlanta in my weekly sheet, and I'm like, I think that Minnesota lost Kirk Cousins. They had a rookie starting, but they picked up Josh Dobbs this week, and somehow the rookie gets a concussion, and Josh Dobbs comes in the game, and well, I think we all know what happened. But Handy, give us your impressions of your recap this week. What's going on with your Falcons?
Wait a minute now. Did you want my opinion of the game, or you want my impressions? Which one you want? I can't do both of them at the same time. I'm going to do something that you know how I talked about a few, like at the beginning of the season when I talked about Dallas and the fans not ripping the TVs off the wall and all of that stuff.
Yes.
You all know, and I have made it very known. I've made it known since I don't want to give the NFL no outrageous amount of money to be able to watch the ticket. And we haven't switched over to YouTube TV yet. I get Falcons games. I get to see maybe a couple a year. Well, as it worked out, and you all know, when one game ends, they might switch over to something else just to fill the time space between until the next game starts. Well, as fate would have it, the early game ended, and they switched over to Falcons footage, and I was like, holy! I almost pulled a Tina and cussed. I was like, holy crap, they're winning! And I literally, in the time it took me to leave the room, walk out. Leave the living room, go get something because I keep a little food stash in my closet. I went to get some snacks or something to come back and watch it, have some snacks while I'm fixing dinner. And all of a sudden, the Vikings are in goal-to-goal situation. And at that point, I just put my snacks down and I just turned my back to the TV because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I'm a Falcons fan. We could see this coming a mile away. It's just like there's certain people, when you see them coming and you ain't seen them in forever, they're going to ask you for money. I knew exactly what was going to happen. How do you? Talking about you, Falcons. I normally look over here because this is the bigger screen and I could read all the letters on it because my eyes ain't too good. Don't let these glasses fool you. They're a lot stronger than the lenses indicate. When I'm looking at the screen right now, how do you have a lead and lose the game to not a first string, not a second string? And I know this guy is not a third string per se, but he was third on the depth chart, quarterback, who's only been with the team for 5 days. 5 whole days. Like Eddie Murphy when he did his impersonation of Bill Cosby, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. That's how long he's been on the team. That is the most Atlanta thing Atlanta could do. Atlanta, I said it before, I'll say it again, is the most consistently inconsistent team in the NFL. And they continue time and time again when they got an opportunity to strap up and go handle business. They just let the fellas fall outside both sides of the jock strap and hang down to their knees and go, we're not going to do anything today. It's not like, it's not like, it's not, how do you do that on national television in front of everybody? It's not like, it's not like
salt to the wound.
It's not like going to the biggest game of the entire season and giving up a 25-point lead to lose in overtime. Oh, wait. It's not like going to the biggest game of the season and your wide receiver goes downtown like a dumbass and tries to proposition a police officer. Oh, wait.
Okay, then.
I have given love to this team for years. It's not like having the most electrifying quarterback in the history of the game that is just phenomenal, and you finally get pieces around him to make the team potentially be a playoff team, and then all of a sudden some dogs go missing. Oh, wait. I can't stand it no more. And Arthur Smith, how the hell? I thought professional football coaches were supposed to look like guys that can fight. Arthur Smith looked like the dude who got his lunch money took every day.
I'm just reading Gab's comment. Sorry. That's a good one. That's about right, though. It's true. And I read something this morning that I thought was interesting, too. Literally, during the huddle, And like while he was at the line of scrimmage, they're feeding stuff to Josh Dobbs because he doesn't know all the calls or everything yet.
Right.
So the coach is literally talking to him while he's sitting in there ready to snap the ball. And he's telling him, okay, Josh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So, yeah, that's how crazy it was that Josh came in the game and led the comeback that he did because he had no idea what the hell was going on. Like you said, 5 days on the team, and that was it.
The Falcons were so bad. The Falcons are so bad at fighting off defeat from the hands of victory. They could have gone and got they could have gone to Jersey and got Fireman Joe, the Jets' biggest fan, and said, "Hey, you want to play football for a minute?" And he would have Jets, Jets, and ran right on in there. And then he'd have been on the plane on the way home with the team with the chain on top. I said, I want to cuss. I want to cuss so bad. You have no idea.
I can imagine.
I really do. I do. It's like having. It's like having that paper cut. It doesn't really hurt, but every time you do something and rub your hand together, you just want to punch a hole in the wall. That's how I feel about the Atlanta Falcons right now. I can calm down. I can feel my blood pressure going up right now. I swear, for the Lord,
I think so.
Just pitiful, Skip. Pitiful.
I can tell you one thing.
I called myself going down to Savannah to be at Savannah State so I could show off what a great sports state Georgia is. And the Bulldogs is winning on Saturday, and the Falcons is just turning the ball, letting the man to come in. He just got to the game. He had to catch an Uber to get to the game. He got there right before the kickoff. I made that up, by the way. I don't y'all go Google it.
We know.
But, I will say this. I guarantee that in Minnesota you'll be able to find a Josh Dobbs jersey, like unlike when he was in Arizona and couldn't find his own jersey. But I'm just saying, we'll move on from that one.
Man, there you go. There's another point. The man was quarterbacking in Arizona last week. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he was suffering in Arizona.
Yeah. Certainly.
Quarterback in Arizona, quite possibly the worst team in the league right now. Well, no, Atlanta has proved us wrong yet again. I think Atlanta is the worst team in the league. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just Falcons fans. I'm sorry. If y'all don't go see another game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium other than to just get some chicken wings before kickoff, I would not be mad at you at all.
Well, there you go.
Arthur Smith got me so pissed off. I'm just getting ready to start shopping at Lowe's. The hell with Home Depot, too.
Yeah, no, I got you. Well, let's get real quickly to our Bears recap because I'm sure this will be fun for Delilah and I to talk about. But 5 turnovers, Delilah. Couldn't find a way. New Orleans tried hard to give us the game, and we just kept giving it right back. I couldn't but anyways, do you even want to talk about this? Do you have anything to say about our 24-17 loss?
It's the same stuff I say all the time. I'm repeating myself. It's the same stuff. We don't build upon wins. We never do. I'm tired of it. I'm not even blaming Bagent. I know he made mistakes, but he's a rookie. He's a kid. He's just learning the system. And it's just proving again that we don't do right by our quarterbacks. It's just showing that over and over and over again. That Chicago is known as the place that don't develop quarterbacks. And all those people, as I've said, to calm down about Justin Fields because this kid, he's new, he's learning, and he's not learning from the right people. I don't think so. I want everybody gone on the coaching staff. I like the players. They're very talented. We should be above 500. And I believe that with the team that we have, wholeheartedly, 100% believe that we should not be 2 and what is it now, 7?
2 and 7, yeah.
And the Panthers only won 1 game, and they're favored to beat us. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Okay.
Yeah, well, again, it's just
that's just so you know that even though Panthers have won less games than us, they're still favored to beat us at home at Soldier Field. The Thursday night game. Congratulations that that's what your Thursday night game is. Trash. And like I said, I will always blame the coaches, not the players. I like both of my quarterbacks. I think that we've done Justin wrong, and I think we're doing wrong by Bagent. He has an arm. I keep hearing that from all these people that he's a talented kid, that he did good in that small football conference. I don't know college as well as you guys. I heard he did pretty good out there. And I love DJ Moore. Look at what we did with Foreman. Foreman could catch and could pass. You know what I mean? He can catch and he could run. You know, I see a lot. And, you know, I just don't think we have the right coaches. And I'm hoping that now that Poles has a chance to hire who he wants, right? Now he can he can move away. I hope that, you know, Poles fires everybody in the coaching staff and starts brand new and brings on people who actually believe in developing teams, or you're not going to get quarterbacks to come here. We're already hearing these quarterbacks. Everybody's like, oh, Caleb Williams. He already said he would rather go back and do another year in college if he thinks he's going to be drafted by a team that won't support him, right? Leave him hanging. Anyway, I'm done. That's it. No, it's
okay. Again, I have to echo a lot of your sentiment in the sense, like, I just feel like it's one of those years that unfortunately it happened again where we have such high expectations and everybody just comes off flat, and before you know it, we've got a losing record, and it just doesn't look like it's going to get too much better. I mean, we may win another game or two this year, but we just look very lackluster. You know, exactly. Agreed. They've won one game, we won two, but what's the real difference? So well, we're gonna take a quick break here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna come back with a lot of our regular show that we do every week. So let's go take this quick break. We'll be right back.
We the best team. No. How? We showed you yesterday that we are clearly by far the best team. You guys got the W, but had literally Dak had kept his foot in, got the 2-point conversion, the shoemaker, you guys would have done.
If I would have hit that eight game parlay, I would have won 25,000. So that really don't mean nothing. If I would have hit that 8 game parlay, I could be rich right now.
Of course, that's a clip from the flagship show of Let's Talk Football with Sean Spencer, Janae Struther. Again, we won't get into that game because there's a bunch you could talk about that Philly-Dallas game. But let's move on back to our regular scheduled programming. So again, we're going to go to Delilah for This Week in NFL History. Take it away.
All right. So let's get into it because I know I'm going to try to cover just a couple because I know it's November 6th. So I don't want to do I'm going to just pop into a few. So, on November 1st, 1964, Cleveland running back Jim Brown runs for 149 yards in a Browns 30-17 win at Pittsburgh to become the first NFL player to exceed 10,000 yards career rushing. Anytime Jim Brown stats come up, I always share that, that was the stud, right? He kind of set that bar. November 1st, 1966, NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle made the announcement that the league had awarded the 16th franchise in the NFL to the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, if you didn't know, it alludes to November 1st being All Saints Day in the Catholic faith because, NOLA is has a really large Catholic population. And so that's kind of where the name came from. And I figured we have a lot of Saints fans, especially my co-host on the ladies show, Nicole. So I wanted to throw that stat out there for her. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Sad news on November 1st, 1999. That's when we lost Sweetness. He passed away from cancer. It happened back in 1999. I can't believe it's been that long. But, that's just how, it goes sometimes. All righty. Okay. So moving on through here, November 2nd, 1994, the NFL announced the expansion of the Carolina Panthers that they would play in the NFC West. Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars is assigned to the AFC Central because remember, before what we know, the last couple seasons, there were the divisions were different. We know that, right? They were kind of redrawn. Teams were moved around. So that's what happened on November 2nd, 1994 with the expansion. Some teams were moved around. November 2nd, 1997, Eric Metcalf of the San Diego Chargers returns punts for a touchdown of 85 yards to 67 yards and joins Hall of Famer Jack Christensen as the only players in NFL history to return punts for 2 touchdowns twice in a game. And so there's that. All right, moving on to November 3rd, 1996, the San Francisco 49ers, Mr. Jerry Rice, grabs 3 passes for 45 yards and a touchdown to become the first player in NFL history to reach 1,000 career receptions in their 24-17 win over New Orleans Saints. Just interesting that both these stats kind of came up at different days, different decades, but he finished his career, as people know, with over 1,500 career receptions, which has not been broken yet. His right now, his record still stands. It's still up there. I think the closest, guys, Larry Fitzgerald and Randy Moss. So anyway, still standing. I'm sure maybe we'll see it. I don't know. We'll see it broken in our lifetime because those guys kind of retired and they put a lot of seasons in. So we'll see. We might. November 3rd, 2013, Nick Foles connects with Riley Cooper 3 times to become the 7th passer in NFL history with 7 touchdown tosses in a game during the Philadelphia Eagles 49-20 win over the Raiders. Foles completed that day 22 of 28 for 406 yards. Foles will always go down in history, as we know, as the man that actually beat Tom Brady, right? He'll always take that with him, along with some cool stats. So he can carry that with him forever, right? Anywho, November 4th. On November 4th, 1934, the Lions rushed for an NFL single game record of 426 yards. Okay, 426 yards in a game when they defeated Pittsburgh by the score of 40-7. That was November 4th, 1934. That's wild to me. November 4th, 1979, the LA Rams held the Seattle Seahawks to only 1 first down, and the Seahawks recorded -7 total offensive yards for the entire game. Sadly, that record still stands. -7. -7. That was on November 4th, 1979, and they defeated the Seahawks 24-0. So there is that. All right, here we go. Wrapping it up now. November 5th, 1978, the Oakland Raiders' John Madden became the 13th coach to win 100 NFL games. Anytime John Madden stats come up, I always like sharing those because I love John Madden. I miss him as an announcer all the time. All right, and then finally, November 6th, 1869, I thought this was cool, even though sometimes we go back to college because college football, American football that we know it, that's how it started, right? Everybody kind of knows it started in college and then it morphed into professional football later. And so November 6th, 1869 is considered the first American football type game. It's obviously not what we recognize today, but it's the College of New Jersey that later became Princeton and Rutgers. They played each other in a football match. The game, again, is not recognizable as the game that we know today. It was more similar to rugby, honestly. So the game was played using a round-shaped ball, and they used the Football Association soccer rules to play closely again to rugby. But this game marked the beginning of college football, and subsequently, forgot to speak there for a second, has gone down in the history books as the first American college football game. So I had to start somewhere, and that's kind of where it started. So again, we would not recognize it today because it really was closer to rugby. They didn't like passing. I shared those stats before. They thought passing game was not cool. It was just rough and tumble, all defense, and basically like just all out beating each other up. So no padding either. So and there you have it. This week in NFL history.
All right, thank you so much. So yeah, can you imagine just no padding, just beat each other up, tackle, do whatever you got to do, bloody noses, bloody knees, all that good stuff. That's my kind of football, let me tell you. Not this flag stuff we play in the present era. No, again, that's another topic for another time. But we're going to move on. Next segment we have coming up, of course, is Tina Winter with her corner office. So let's get ready for that.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to start off like I always do with the top corners of the week. And in first place, Nick and Delilah are not going to like this one, but it's Paulson Adebo of the New Orleans Saints. He rose to the top this week with 4 interceptions, 22 solo tackles, and 5 assists.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I saw that one and I had to chuckle a little bit. In second place, Janae's going to like this one, and all the other cowboy crazies there are, is Darren Bland. He's also, him and Adebo tied for number 1 in the league this week with 4 interceptions. Number 3 is someone we've talked about before. It's Steven Nelson with Houston, and he's there with 3 interceptions. So I have a couple of topics that I'm going to talk about today in my little section, and I'm going to try and make them as succinct as I can. First, we're going to talk about flex games, because as you know, it's going to start getting to the point where the NFL is going to maybe start tinkering with the schedule. So just to let you, here's the rules that it comes to flex games. Sunday Night Football can be flexed from weeks 5 to 10, and then from weeks 11 to 17 at the discretion of the NFL. So essentially, Sunday Night Football really can be moved from week 5 to 17. Monday Night Football can only be flexed from weeks 12 to 17. And with Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, they have to announce the change 12 days in advance. And then once you get to week 14, then it has to be announced 6 days in advance. Thursday Night Football can be flexed from weeks 13 through 17. However, that one, because it's on the NFL network and it's on a different channel, they have to give 28 days advance. That's the reason why a lot of the Thursday Night Football games are usually not flexed, because that's a pretty far out to be able to do it. All right, so that's the flex rules coming up. Remember, Sunday Night Football, essentially from here on out, they can flex anytime, any game they want, as long as it's 12 days in advance. Monday Night Football, 12 to 17, again, 12 days in advance until closer to the end, and then it's 6 days in advance. Sunday Night Football, weeks 13 through 17, but more than likely not going to happen. Okay, so as my fellow hosts on the show know, I actually put this topic or picked this topic before the Raiders ended up firing Josh McDaniels. So I'm going to have another Raiders topic to talk about. But this one's interesting to me because it is also concerns with somebody who's very prominent in the league, and some people consider him to be the greatest of all time. And a lot of you know, Tom Brady has been working with Mark Davis to purchase a minority interest in the Oakland Raiders. Now, that has hit a couple of snags, and not necessarily because they fired Josh McDaniels. It hit a snag before. So as of October 31st, if his purchase had been approved, he probably would have gone on to the ownership committee to have vote on it. But there's been some problems, so its problem may not be approved until the next meeting, which I believe is late December or early January is when the next ownership meeting is going to be. Okay, so this is how it works if you're buying a minority interest. Before we talked about if you wanted to buy the team, now we're talking about a minority interest, which in the NFL tends to be a 5-10% interest is what you're buying. So the way that it works is the finance committee is the one who works through the contract and through the idea of what you're going to buy and the numbers on it, et cetera, et cetera. If the finance committee agrees to the terms of the buy, then it will go to the owners committee. Now, the owners committee, you need 24 of 32 teams to give it a yay to be able to buy a minority interest. Here's the interesting thing. And I'm giving you this information so you know, because this is the really interesting thing. So according to the Forbes NFL team valuations, which was done in October of 2023, the Raiders are worth $6.2 billion. So if you want to buy them, that's what you got to pay Mark Davis. Now, usually, like I said, you buy a minority interest, it's 5 to 10%. I'm going to use the 10% number because it's a lot easier to understand. So if Tom Brady is buying 10% of the Raiders, He needs to come up with $620 million. And I'm not saying he doesn't have the money. He has the money. He could afford this. But what's happening is his agreement with Mark Davis is he's getting a discount on that minority interest. And it's a significant discount if the rumors are true and what they've been talking about. This has been in Business Week and on Forbes and a bunch of different places. There's the numbers they're showing is they think he might be buying an interest in the Raiders for $434 million. That is a 70% discount. This is the issue, the biggest issue with this is that the finance committee, as we know, we talked about before, every time a team gets sold, that valuation feeds into the next time a team is sold. And all of the owners want to make sure that their teams are valued as high as they can be. You sell a minority interest for this. This is what's on the books. If you go to sell, that is going to be the figure, and it can be used to bring your valuations down. So that's the reason right now it's not been approved, is because of finances, the financial aspect of it. I do think, and I'm going to say with a caveat, I do think it's not that they're never going to approve him being the owner, being a minority owner. They will approve him. It will happen. They just might need to work on the numbers a little bit to make them more normal so that other teams, when they sell, they can know what they can do for those minority interests. So that's where that one's at. There's also a couple of other things. Another issue that's kind of popped up, and I think this is one that some people, it might affect some of the owners, is that Brady is going to have a Fox analyst job next year on Fox News. So if he's a minority owner, even though he's probably doesn't have any voting rights and he can't use, he's going to be given information as an analyst while he's doing his job. So how do you make sure he's not taking that information that he's getting on these various teams and go back? I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying it's a question mark for some people on this. The last one does have to do with the other issue is, so if you own part of a team, you cannot be an employee. You cannot be a GM. You cannot be a coach. You can't do any of that. You cannot be an employee and an owner. That's not allowed through the rules. So head coach got let go. GM got let go. If Brady really wants to own part of the Raiders, and him and Davis may think about maybe bring him in, have him be part of this team, have him be part of the administration. That happens, then he can't own the team. So this is one that's going to be interesting to me to see how it breaks out. And as Abdul said, there is a conflict of interest, yes, in him owning a minority ownership in a team and also being an analyst. So that's another thing you're going to have to work out. That would be that's never happened before, because owners have always been owners and analysts have been analysts, and never the two shall meet. But Brady is one of the greatest that's played the game. So he's going to want to try and do some of these things. So there may be a few rules. So I'm just saying, this is the one that I'm going to keep an eye on in the corner office because I think it's interesting and I want to see how this plays out. So that's my report from the corner.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tina. Always a lot to process there after we finish your segment. So, but we all appreciate the information, I'm sure. So might be, yeah, for sure. I've mentioned it might be a conflict of interest for sure. Because again, you got an analyst contract and they're expecting you to go into the booth, my friend, but now you want to be a minority owner in a football team. So we'll definitely all be keeping an eye on Mr. Brady.
Yeah, not just that you got to go into the booth. It's that he's being given inside information. He's meeting with coaches. Right. He's meeting with players. He's being given points to talk about at the game, the pros and the cons, and this is what we're looking for over there. That information.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's 100%.
Like, to me, that's the bigger issue for me. But from what I'm reading, it's the financials is the biggest hurdle right now. So they'll work that out. They'll work it out.
Yeah.
But again, like, it's just a very interesting thing because, like, everybody assumed Peyton Manning and John Elway were ownership. They weren't. So he's the first one, a first ex-player that has had the funds to be able to do this. I think you're going to see this going forward a little bit more. So
they all want more football players. Kind of want a stake, right? Like I know Aaron Rodgers kind of wanted something like that, and because he was a player,
and that's the reason.
The Jets were like, not yet, but
oh no, that would have been an automatic no.
Right.
That's it would they could not do that.
But he put that out there. So I think you're right. I think we're going to see more players who want to be owners, not just, hey, I played for these teams. Like, I think you're right. I think we're going to see that. I mean, Brady already has a win as a minority owner to the Vegas Aces, because I don't think people know he's a minority owner to the Las Vegas Aces who won the WNBA championship.
And he's in that with Davis.
Yeah,
they own that together. So that's why you're seeing these, and that's what happens. You get in with somebody in a group and you pick up these pieces as they go. So
interesting stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, like I said, we'll all be watching that one. That is going to happen in the evolution of contracts. And you're probably right. It is probably going to happen, and they'll find a way to make it happen because he's Tom Brady. No, I'm just playing, but I'm sure they'll work all that out.
You're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, let us move on. We're going to go next to our guy who's going to put on a happy face. I know he's had a little bit of a sad face this week with what happened, but he's going to put on his happy face now. Let us go to Anthony Handy and his rookie spotlight. Here we go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the ethosphere on Beyonce's internet. I am Anthony Handy, aka Mr. Fingers, aka Get Rid of Him and Smith, aka Angry Birds fan, coming to you this week on Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable, with your rookie spotlight. This week's rookie comes to us by way of the Bluegrass State, by way of Massachusetts, Newton, Massachusetts, in fact, born a mere 4 days after my 29th birthday back in 1999. He played football. He played his high school football in Madison, Connecticut, wound up making his way to Penn State and eventually into the hearts and minds of the good folks in Heinz Field in Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, today's rookie, Mr. William Donovan Levis. Yes, I use his entire government issue. Mr. Mayonnaise, Mr. Banana Peels. That's the guy. Like I mentioned, he was born in Newton, Massachusetts, wound up growing up in Madison, Connecticut, played his ball in Middleton, Connecticut at Xavier High School, broke all sorts of records. Folks, the reason that these guys are not just rookies of the week just because they're rookies. These guys are rookies. Most of these guys I brought to you as rookies have been guys that have been standouts in high school and college. This guy broke several records for passing touchdowns and 27 passing touchdowns and 2,793 yards passing as a senior. He committed to Penn State. He wound up playing behind Sean Clifford for his first 2 years he played. He started a whole whopping 2 games during his 2 years on the team. He did redshirt in his freshman year. He did complete 8 of 14 passes for 81 yards in his very first start and an interception with 108 rushing yards. That's put a pin in that. We'll get back to that in a little bit. He wound up transferring to the University of Kentucky in 2021. He'd already graduated from Penn State that May after backing up Sean Clifford. With the red shirt and with COVID, he had the 2 years of eligibility. So He went to Kentucky to play for Mark Stoops, and that was when the world was introduced fully. That was literally his college football coming out party. His first start, he threw for 367 yards and count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. That comes right before the fifth, by the way, for those of you that are keeping track. He wound up leading the team to victory in the Citrus Bowl that year over Iowa, who was ranked number 15 at the time. He decided to cast his lot with the NFL draft after the 2022 season. Actually, the 2021 season was the better season, although I will say this, with the combination of Mark Stoops coaching, Will Levis at quarterback, he had Chris Rodriguez, who is a phenomenal running back also in the backfield, definitely bringing Kentucky back into the spotlight and the National College Football spotlight, especially being in the Southeastern Conference, which at that time was being featured because some team from over there somewhere was winning a lot of games, and they were in the same conference. So his first year, he went 10-3 at Kentucky. The second year, they didn't fare quite so well, still come up with a 7-4 record altogether. He wound up finishing his entire college career with throwing for almost 6,000 yards, 46 touchdowns. Did have 25 interceptions though, but I'm gonna kind of give him a and the reason that I say that is because him being in the SEC, I got to watch him play a lot more than some of these other rookies that I have brought to you. And then not only in the SEC, in the same division as the Bulldogs, so I got to see him play a lot. I got to watch his play every weekend. One of the big things was their offensive line, not as strong as it should have been, but we're not going to get into that. We're not talking college ball. We're talking about Mr. Levis. They did have him projected as a first-round draft pick. I know you guys all remember the camera was on him every 2 seconds, him and his girlfriend, and then we found out about his weird eating habits, about how he eats the bananas. He doesn't peel them, skin and banana, and how he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, which, as my understanding, he did get a nice little NIL deal as a result of that. But he wound up falling to the second day of the draft. He wound up getting picked up by the Tennessee Titans with the 33rd overall pick in this past spring's NFL draft. Wound up as the third string quarterback behind Malik Willis, who's second string, and of course Ryan Tannehill at first string. Well, you know what? Sometimes good things come to those who wait. Sometimes that saying is true. Tannehill got hurt. Levis came out and put up 238 yards and 4 touchdowns. Why did I pick Malik Willis? Because you know who he beat? The Atlanta Falcons in a 28-23 win over the Atlanta Falcons. And then the following week, he wound up throwing for 262 yards and 1 interception. They wound up losing to the Steelers. But great kid. He was so Mike Vrabel was so impressed with him that he said, this guy is our starter moving forward for the remainder of the season. Definitely giving that offense a good shot in the arm. Now, here are the things that I really like about Will Levis. Will Levis is 6'3", almost 6'4", 229 pounds. He's not a small guy. Of course, not very many people in the NFL are small guys, but as a quarterback, that can be a pretty imposing figure back there standing behind that offensive line. He's stocky. He's stocky and he's well built. So he definitely stays healthy. He's got a very strong arm, and it's an accurate strong arm. It's not just a guy with a cannon, that's like, I bet I could throw that ball over them there mountains. It's not like that. He's got a very accurate long ball. One of the things about him in the pocket is he is exceptionally patient. He can take his time and wait for a play to develop. And if things break down in the pocket, he's not much of a running quarterback, but he does have a couple of moves. He's got a nasty little spin move. If you come at him from the right, he's gonna do a 360 on you. He's gonna 360 juke you to the left and keep it pushing. I don't recall ever seeing. I'm not even kidding. I was watching the highlight film. Most times he jukes to his left. Every now and again, he kind of stutter steps to his right, but he always does that 360 spin move to his left. And he's not uber fast. He's not the Flash. He's not going to be Flash and Superman in a foot race. But once he breaks open and with that little bit of elusiveness, he can get away from you. Didn't score a whole metric ton of touchdowns during his time in college. Believe the total magic number there for him rushing was actually he did score 17 in 4 years, which for a quarterback is quite a bit. Not a rushing quarterback like Lamar Jackson or a Justin Fields or a Kyler Murray, so to speak, but still 17 touchdowns over the course of 4 seasons. And 6 of those at Penn State while he was playing backup to the starter. So this is a kid. Now that he's gotten his opportunity to play, we've seen him. He's out there. He's looked very composed for a kid that, they just handed him the ball and said, "Hey, kid, your show." And he has definitely shown them why Tennessee spent the money to bring him to the Titans. And we will see what unfolds as the season unfolds. We have a very small sample size from him in the NFL so far, but I would not be surprised if next season there is a quarterback competition, and he want quarterback competition. I'm using the air quotes because we know what that means when they say quarterback competition. They've already picked out the starter, but they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Something tells me Ryan Tannehill is going to be either relegated to the bench or shuffled off the Buffalo, as the saying goes. Looking forward to seeing some things from Mr. Willis now that we're not playing against each other in the same conference anymore. Best wishes to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's Rookie of the Week. And I managed to not make this particular segment too manic. Aren't you proud of me? Rookie of the Week, Will Levis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andy. And yes, we will be following Will in the coming weeks to see just how he fares, there in Tennessee. All right, we're going to move on.
Yeah, go ahead. One more I want to see. I'm kind of disappointed that all this time that he's never pulled the old banana peel trick on somebody when they were trying to tackle him. I mean, because he eats them. That's why. Never mind.
Yeah. There you go. Anthony Handy, ladies and gentlemen, who'll be here all week. Tip your waitress. But let us move on. And we're going to go on to a segment that I personally enjoy because I guess it's mine. But we're going to go ahead and I'm back after 3 weeks. Here's Nick's picks. I'm going to give them to you. You're going to love them. You're going to want them. We're back, baby. Thank you very much. I always love that intro with me just sitting there shouting in the corner, pointing my finger at people. Isn't that great? Thank you, Sean, for putting that together. I'm back after 3 weeks. I apologize. I had some stuff going on, and then last week we did our Halloween show. But I'm back. 4 games, as always, to pick for you. And I'm going to start Colts and Patriots. Now, we were talking earlier about Bill Belichick and his Patriots and Bill being on the hot seat. I just feel like the Patriots just don't have a real identity right now. They're the offense is struggling, and they're playing a Colts team that seems to, Gardner Minshew has the guys playing, and they're, again, not great, but doing all right for themselves. And this is a game that obviously is going to be very close as far as the line goes. It's only a 1.5 difference. But I'm going to go with the Colts. They're giving up that 1.5 because I feel this is a game they can win at least by 3-4 points against the Patriots here in a battle of, just AFC, mid teams, as it were. But I'm going to take the Colts minus 1.5 against New England this weekend. My next game is a big AFC North matchup. And the interesting thing about this, I don't know if you guys were aware, but if the playoffs were to start today, all 4 teams in the AFC North would be in. So it just shows you how difficult that AFC North has been. And there's a great matchup this weekend between the Ravens and the Browns. Pretty much for, I think, supremacy in that conference, depending on what Pittsburgh decides to pull up this week. But yeah, Ravens, Browns. And I like what the Ravens are doing, personally. Like Lamar Jackson is doing well. The offense is getting better. They scored, 37 points last week, 37, 39, whatever it was. The defense is playing well. They're starting to, I think they're 7-2. I think they're starting to really again, we don't know what the future holds for Baltimore as far as that goes, but right now they're rolling, and I think this is a game that they can prove that they are on a roll. They're playing the Browns, so again, division game, fighting for all those spots there in the AFC North, but the Ravens are favored in this game, and they're giving up 6 points, but I'm going to take them with that. I'm going to take the Ravens minus the 6 points against Cleveland this weekend. My third game is kind of an interesting one for me because I think this will be a good test for Jacksonville. Jacksonville's taking on the 49ers this week, and as I mentioned earlier, the Jaguars have won 5 in a row. They got the longest winning streak this season in the NFL at 5 games, and the 49ers have been on a skid lately. Not doing so well. Lost what? It's 3 in a row. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead. And this is a 3-point line, and the Jaguars are the underdog. They're getting 3 points. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Jaguars plus that 3 points this week against the struggling 49ers. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I believe in Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, and even Calvin Ridley, who's there, who has contributed this year. It's an excellent 4 right there to me. Travis Etienne has been running well. Christian Kirk is catching the ball. Ridley's getting involved. Trevor Lawrence having a good year. I'm going to go with the the Jaguars plus 3 points this weekend. My last game, Texans-Bengals. Now, we all saw the performance on Sunday for Mr. C.J. Stroud. And again, that gives a lot of people hope. I'm certainly the people in Houston are ecstatic at what they saw. But they do run into a Bengals team this week that is on the rise. For some reason, Cincinnati likes to start slow, but they catch fire, it seems like. And it seems like Joe Burrow's playing well. So some of you may be puzzled when I tell you what I'm doing here. It's a 7-point spread. The Bengals obviously are the favorite, so they're giving up 7 points to the Texans. Now, again, you're gonna say, "Well, Nick, what are you doing here?" Well, I'm actually gonna take Houston. I'm gonna jump on the C.J. Stroud bandwagon and the Tony Dell bandwagon. Caught a couple touchdowns from CJ this weekend, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the Texans plus the 7 points this week. So just to recap, I'm taking Colts minus 1.5 against Patriots. Ravens Browns. I'm gonna take Ravens minus 6. Jaguars 49ers, I'm going to take the Jaguars plus 3, and then Texans Bengals, I'm going to go Texans plus 7. So that's Nick's picks for this week. Follow along. I'll tell you how I did next week, and I'll have another 4 games for all of you to follow along with. So thank you very much for that. As always, we have come now to the end of the show, or as Boys to Men would say, the end of the road. Still, I can't let go. So natural. You belong to me. I belong to you. We belong to each other. Scott Fowler still knows that his Rams won't lose, probably because they're on a bye this week. So congratulations on that. You get a whole week to prep Carson Wentz for your next game and your next loss. So good job, man. What you can change what, Sean? I can change it, Nick. I'm not sure what he means by that. Did I miss something? Probably, because a lot of things go over my head. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. But thank you, Sean. Whatever it is, change is always good. But let's get us As Peter Brady once said, when it's time to change. Okay, everybody, that's a dated reference. But anyways, I digress. This is truly why I love this show, though, because at any moment we would just go off on something else, and I'll just throw everything else off, and everybody just starts laughing and giggling, and it's great. That's the phenomenal thing about that. That's why I love doing this. I truly do. But yeah, our final segment, as always, is one last thought. And again, I want you all to be prepared for next week. We're gonna have a slight change to the one last thought. We're gonna do a little something different. So we'll premiere that next week. But for this week, as always, everybody will give their, whatever it is, brief thought they have for this week. So Handy, we'll start with you, my friend. I know you're tired. It's been a long day at work. You probably dropped your dinner on the floor again. I insulted your Falcons. But give me one last thought for this week, my friend.
One, I haven't dropped dinner since the infamous steak incident. Today is pizza. Thank you very much.
Okay. Pizza's good.
I've learned how to wait until y'all get on screen and get the full screen, and then I mute myself and I shove food in my face, and then by the time y'all are done, I'm all clean. Y'all don't know. I had a whole bunch of Popeye chicken skin on my face. I'm kidding. I'm really kidding. Maybe. One last thought. Wow. See, this is the thing we were just talking about before the show. There's so many things we could talk about. Learn to. Oh wow. I was having a discussion with somebody today about what I would do if I were suddenly immensely, and by immensely, I mean, give me Oprah's money, give me Jay-Z's money, give me Robert Smith's money, give me Zuckerberg's money, give me all of the monies, and I would never, and I just that wealthy where I would never have to work again. I said, you know what? The truth of the matter is, I like to stay busy. I would probably find something to do because I don't like to sit still. And yeah, that's if you're a person that likes to move around and do things, don't ever lose track of moving around and doing those things, because it is a sad thing. It is a sad thing when there's something that you once enjoyed doing that you no longer can do. And I hope this doesn't come across sad, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to keep people encouraged to keep doing the things that they do. I'm sitting right now looking at my instruments back there, my keyboard back there. I haven't touched that sucker since probably right after we went back to work from COVID. And I love writing music, and I love recording the music and putting the music out. And yeah, don't ever lose touch with the things that bring you joy, because in your deepest, darkest hours, those things can still bring you joy. Those are the kinds of things that sustain you. Making music was a thing. I mean, besides being on the podcast with you guys, and then of course eventually you, Tina. Hi, how you doing? And I threw a coin up there doing a coin toss. I'm waiting for it to come back down. If you was wondering what the hell I was looking for, it's up there somewhere. Anyway, but being on the podcast with you all and doing music, even just cover versions of songs and just putting them out for people to listen to, was one of the things that kept me sustained. And I've really lost touch with that, because I got so much going on that I don't get it. I mean, I kind of balances with the karaoke, but still, don't lose touch with the things that you love that bring you joy, because that might be the very thing that sustain you, the very thing that sustain you when you're at your lowest point. I wrote a song. And then I'm gonna wrap this up because we've been on for a minute. I wrote a song. It's been 22 years ago now. I wrote a song a long time ago, and it was called "Friend," and it was like a 4-song little EP on the CDs, where you burn the CD and then you print out the label and you put it on it just right, because it didn't sit right. Then you try to put the thing in your car, and then we eat up the CD. Y'all remember that? Just me, huh? Okay. Anyway.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember.
So
I do.
yeah. So I had a lot of my friends had listened to it, and they said, "Oh, this is really cool. We like the song." And at some point, it was about 3 or 4 years later that somebody told me that I won't put their business out there, even though you don't know who the person is. But this small world with social media now, you might. They were really going through something really, really, really harsh at the time that I was doing all the music and stuff. And that song didn't necessarily save them, but it kind of just pushed them in my direction. And all this time, little did I know that something that I had done had touched somebody in the way that they had just kind of made their way to me, and just us being and interacting with each other kind of saved them from a bad situation and themselves. This is about the best way I could put it. So don't ever lose touch with the things that you enjoy doing, because not only does it bring you joy, but it can help somebody else out too. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Nope. Thank you, Andy. That's good advice, actually. Delilah, how about you? One last thought on this Tuesday?
Yeah, I just wanted to end it on Jerry Springer's most memorable catchphrase, which is "Take care of yourself and each other." That's my favorite.
Nope. I love that one. I use that often. It's a great thing to remember. I just think
like to take care of Arthur Smith with one of these.
Well, there you go. Hey, be mad at your owner all you want, bro. It's your team. You do your thing. Tina, how about you?
I didn't vote for him.
I didn't vote for him either. Go ahead, Tina. One last thought.
Well, you kind of voted through them for buying their merchandise, just kind of to let you know that.
Hey, fun fact: yours truly has never personally bought it's one iota of every single piece of Falcons paraphernalia I own. Somebody else bought for me.
Well, you're better than me. I gotta tell you that. Kind of, Delilah kind of alluded to it too earlier. Like here in Chicago, because the hours fell back, like I wasn't even done with work and it was already dark outside. So at this time, just remember, kind of like Candy said, what she said. If there's something you enjoy doing, do it right now, especially live in the Midwest or you're up here in the north part of our country where I mean, it's dark outside.
It's dark like me outside.
Oh, wow.
It's okay to laugh. I made a joke.
Not me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. But yeah, find something that you enjoy doing, etc. Keeps your mind engaged, keeps it going. I don't care if it's a video game, it's a book, it's making music, I'm teaching myself slowly, I will say, Italian because I'm trying to learn it because I'm going to go on vacation there next summer. So find something that engages you right now because it's very easy in the winter to sit and do nothing. So that's my
very true
final thought of the week.
All right. And real quick, I'm just going to add that my favorite time of the year, obviously, is upon us. I'm a big fan of the last 3 months of the year. We just finished Halloween. We have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. So I think it's always just, at this time of year, just find something maybe to be grateful for or to be thankful for. I think this time of year is kind of that kind of reflection. You start thinking about how the year went for you. A lot of people do that. Look forward to the new year and that sort of thing. So just like I said, to be happy, just to find something that brings you a little joy. Like I said, something you're thankful for, something you might be grateful for, and something you'll be looking forward to in the new year. Because we always kind of, especially for me, because my birthday is right after the first of the year. So I always kind of look forward to that. Just like, it's a new year, Nick. You got another year. You're a year older. What are you going to do with this year? And to be honest, this year was actually a pretty good one for me. For the most part, it actually has been. I've done a lot of things. Tina, tell them about the Mile High Minute. Okay, apparently Tina should tell us about the Mile High Minute. I don't know what that is, but all right. But real quick, let me finish up. Okay, yeah, no, I said, but that's basically it. Like, just find something in this last 2 months of the year to really propel you into the new year. Find something that that just makes you happy. I'm thankful that I wake up every morning at my age. Scott, that's not a bad thing, my friend. That's good. We're glad you're here. Thank you for commenting. So Tina, go ahead. I guess since Sean would like you to talk about this real quickly, what is the Mile High Minute?
Kind of like Delilah's little section that she does, Delilah with Diversity. Sean and I are working together for me to do a Mile High Minute. It will focus on Broncos, but I'm also going to try and also take a look at some of the AFC West issues, some of that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be primarily Broncos stuff. I'm not going to lie. And depending on how it works out, I might be bringing in a few of my interesting friends that hang out with me on Sundays at the games.
Oh, very nice.
That's the Mile High Minute. So,
all right. Well,
not sure when it's going to come out, but we're working on getting that through and getting a script together. So,
awesome. No, it's great. Look forward to that. All right. Well, listen, that's another show for this week. Thank you all for staying with us. Of course, we'll be back next Tuesday. That'll be what, the 14th? Yeah, 14th of November. So again, hope everyone has a great week. For Anthony Handy, Tina Winter, and Delilah Crespo, I'm Nick Rosario. Everybody have a great week. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.